Johnny Manziel, 5 years later, how am I the man still? Drafted.
Welcome to the Loaded Box Podcast.
Where we never finish first because we finish last.
Did Drake just say draft day, Johnny Manziel, and then 5 years later?
Yeah, I don't know what he was talking about at the end there.
Because when Johnny got drafted, 5 years later isn't up yet, but it might be hit or miss whether he's alive or not.
Yeah, nothing's a guarantee with Johnny Manziel.
No, not at all. Well, thank you once again for listening to the Loaded Box Podcast. I am Ben Morgan, that is DJ Primo, and today we are joined by two guests. Mitchell, we've had you on before, and then we've got Andrew as well, Andrew Erickson, right?
Yep, that is correct.
Awesome. So we got Mitchell Renz and Andrew Erickson. I'll let them talk a little bit here about themselves, but fantasy footballers, gridiron experts, we got a couple representatives from those two places, so if you haven't been doing it yet, make sure you're checking out all the work there. I'll let you guys talk more about it as you got all the ins on it.
Yeah, Mitch, you start us off.
Yeah, all right. I guess we'll start off with the best then. So my name is Mitchell Renz. You can follow me on Twitter at MitchellRenz365. And I currently write for the Fantasy Footballers, and I write for the Gridiron Experts. Also, just started up a podcast of my own called the Empire Podcast. So don't be afraid to check that out with Mike Riggs and I. And yeah, I guess Andrew, you can go, and then I'll talk about what we've been doing together, Andrew and I.
Yep, so this is actually the first time I've been on a podcast, so I'm pretty excited. Got some cool takes I'm going to go with. And so follow me on Twitter, at Andrew Erickson _. And I'm excited to be on here. I just started at Gridiron Experts, and I'm ready to, give you guys my fantasy knowledge. Lay it all on the line. That's what it's all about.
Nice. Well, Mitchell, you said you wanted to talk about something that you and Andrew are working on, and I know you're working from the closet today, so why don't you go ahead and break it down for us here, what you guys have planned on in the closet.
Yeah, no, straight up, literally in a closet right now, straight up R. Kelly style, but maybe that's what we should have played.
Shit.
Yes.
No, so Andrew and I, I guess Loaded Box Podcast is taking V cards today, so first podcast, congrats, Andrew, but...
Yep, pretty excited.
No, we're working on a pretty cool article for Gridiron Experts right now. It's on Eddie Lacy, and what we're doing is we're doing like a fantasy courtroom, if you will. So many times you read an article and somebody already has an idea come up. So what we're doing is we're coming up with an idea where Andrew's the prosecutor and I'm the defendant, and I'm defending Lacy, and he's going against him, and it gives the reader a really cool in-depth look at two sides of a story, and then ultimately they can choose what they want, So
Nice.
I think it's a pretty cool idea. It'll be coming out hopefully on Monday. We just finished writing it up. We just got to proof it and everything, and then it'll be out soon. So definitely check that out.
Awesome. That's a cool idea. And like you said, I know you don't want to tease it too much, but that's an angle that a lot of people haven't really gone with it before. So super intriguing. So as Mitchell said, make sure you're checking that out. We've got the guys on today. They're going to help us with today we're doing part 1 of our first round NFL mock draft. We'll be doing picks 1 through 16 today, and we're just going to go, DJ's going to lead it off with the first pick, acting as the Browns, and then we're just going to rotate through, and we'll just have a mock draft for you guys. So,
it's pretty fitting.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, why?
It's just the Browns,
All right.
We'll keep it going.
I love it.
Yeah. It seems like they always have the first pick,
Yeah,
no matter what, every year.
and DJ's Brown.
Yeah. Well, you can throw that around too. Jesus Christ.
All right,
All
so
right.
with the first selection in the draft, DJ, what are you thinking?
All right. Obviously, we're going to go with the Cleveland Browns. Let's go with the obvious pick here. Let's go Myles Garrett. Don't really have too much to say on this pick, but the Cleveland Browns, let's be honest, they can't miss on
All right, well, since we don't have all the latest and greatest technology right now, I ended up getting a phone call and got paused, so thanks for that, whoever ended up calling me. You're not on my good list right now. So, DJ, I will let you go back to what you were saying about Myles Garrett.
All right, so what I was saying is the Browns cannot miss on a quarterback with the first pick again because this is just an embarrassment with them. It's just fitting that we were talking Johnny Manziel or Drake song right away there. but they have to go the safe route, go with the best player, guy that can disrupt the offense and the quarterback, and maybe address that quarterback situation a little bit later. So I don't know that I can talk too much about this pick, because I think everybody knows what's going to happen there. So if you want to put in your 2 cents, or anybody.
No complaints by me. I think if they take anyone besides Garrett, I think they're making a mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, 100% agree.
Nice.
Yep,
Well then,
also agree.
Awesome. With the second pick, then I am up next as we. So what's the word I'm looking for here? How did we decide what picks we were going to have? It was a big long process, right? It was just DJ can go first, I'll go second, and you guys can go third and fourth.
Yeah.
So with the second pick as the San Francisco 49ers, I've got them taking Solomon Thomas out of Stanford. So they're another one of those teams that really needs a quarterback, but I think that they should avoid taking a quarterback in the first round this year, just because of the fact that I don't think any of these guys are clear-cut franchise guys that you can just throw in from day one. And I think if you're going to pick a quarterback, the way that the NFL is going right now, you kind of need that guy, if you're taking him in the top 5, to be that guy. So I think Thomas provides more of that versatility along the defensive line. The 49ers were 19th in sacks last year, and they gave up the 4th most rushing yards per game. Solomon Thomas is a unique enough player where he can get to the quarterback and he's good against the run. So I don't want to call this a no-brainer. I think that there's a lot of options, but I think the best fit for the 49ers is Solomon Thomas, so that's who I'm going with.
Yeah, not the same guy I would have picked. I know lots of people have him going there. I had Trubisky slotted there. Could be wrong. Don't really care. But I think he would be a good fit with Shanahan in that offense. I don't know what route they're really trying to go at quarterback, so I still am convinced that Trubisky's going to San Fran.
Nice.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so I agree with the Solomon Thomas pick. I think that if you look at the 49ers and what they did last year against the run, they were run over all season. If you had a fantasy player going against them, he was guaranteed to score a top 10 performance for that week. So having Solomon Thomas there to go against the pass and help the run defense, it's a perfect fit for the 49ers.
Nice. So it looks like DJ, you're the left one out here. Everyone else liked the Solomon Thomas pick, and you're going to be a hater.
I'm okay with it.
Nice. Well, let's move on to Mitchell, who owns the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, whoopee do here for me. This is probably the least exciting pick out of the top 4, in my personal opinion. But I'm going to go with Malik Hooker, cornerback, Ohio State. I think when you really look at what the Bears, need defensively, I think they need somebody, in their secondary, like a safety like Hooker. Hooker has been, a pretty, kind of confusing player for some because he only had 1 year at Ohio State. So, but he's got outstanding instincts, he's really good, at, manipulating a quarterback, and he's really good at watching the eyes of the quarterback. But, I don't know, I just think he gives, the Bears definitely, some sort of security in their secondary. And the Bears, I think, defensively last year were pretty average, middle of the pack. And I don't know, I think if they're going to go anywhere, I think they really need to lean on their defense and not, really, rely on that offense, which, I could argue that their offense might be the worst in the league, minus the Jets. So we'll see.
Did you even consider a quarterback there at number 3?
No, they could definitely use one, but I think they just signed Glennon to a pretty decent deal.
Yeah.
Maybe not decent for quarterbacks, but I don't know. I think they're going to, try to roll with him. And, they have Jordan Howard there, who I think they're really going to try to lean on. And, hopefully they can find – I just think they've missed too often in their last, few drafts with talent and, I don't know, guys getting injured. So I think they're going to go with somebody who they can definitely rely on with Malik Hooker.
Yeah,
come on.
I like it as well. In my mock, I had him taking Marshawn Lattimore, but I was pretty much between someone in the secondary, so there's no complaints on my end on that.
Yeah, you can go anywhere on defense, it seems like, with the Bears. They struggled against the run last year. They need some help in the pass defense. I guess you can't really go wrong as long as you're grabbing somebody defensively with them. So not much I can do argument-wise there.
Cool.
Nice. Andrew, you got anything, or do you want to move into yours? Oh, here we go.
I disagree a little bit with Malik Hooker. I think I had Jamal Adams slotted here from LSU. So I like going defense. I like the safety. I just like a different one. My reason being, if you look at the Bears, the last 2 picks they've had in the first round, they've been injured. They haven't played.
Right.
So Malik Hooker is another guy, so he's had some injury concerns in the past. I just think that they need to draft a guy that's going to play, and that is a little bit less likely, has a little less injury issues, and Jamal Adams, I think, fits more of that profile than Malik Hooker. I think from a talent-wise, I think Malik Hooker is better than Jamal Adams, but I feel like the Bears can't afford to have another pick not play
instantly. Absolutely.
Like they need bodies to play.
Right.
That's a good point.
Nice. I like it. Well, let's slide into your debut pick here. You got number 4 with the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yes, I did, and I know that a lot of people have Fournette slotted here. I'm not one of those people. I'm going to go with Jonathan Allen from Alabama.
Wow.
So here's my reason being. I just think, they already have TJ Yeldon. They have Chris Ivory, who they signed to a big deal last year, so they have a lot of money invested in him. TJ Yeldon's going to be 24 years old in October, so he's still super young from Alabama. I mean, Alabama running backs have been okay. I mean, some are good, some are not so good. But they lost a lot of defense in the offseason. They lost Audric and Alualu. I think that's how you pronounce his name.
Yeah.
And they did sign Calais Campbell, but he's a little bit older. So I just think with Tom Coughlin kind of taking over the reins in Jacksonville, when I think about Tom Coughlin, I think about those great Giants teams that beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl because of their tough defensive line. So I think that Coughlin really wants to build out the defensive line for Jacksonville to make them a threat, against the pass, against top tier quarterbacks. That's my take.
Yeah, I'm with you. I hate Fournette to the Jaguars. We talked about this last time. DJ's all about Fournette to the Jaguars. I can't be any more against it. The only problem with that is the Jonathan Allen selection, the whole injury thing with him sliding. I don't have Jonathan Allen in my mock going until number 24 to the Raiders. So I just feel like it's a little bit early potentially for Allen, but I'm interested to hear what your guys' takes are as well, because this is the first one that I guess I definitely disagree with. Not the fact that I like that you're going against Fournette, but the fact that it's Jonathan Allen, that's where I would be disagreeing with. So what do you guys like there? Or do you agree or disagree?
I'm 100% in on Fournette, as he mentioned. I think they've done so much work on their defense that now they need to try and give Bortles help. I think that they're going to see if they can get a year out of him where, I don't know, they think he can play like they thought he was going to play. And I think he needs that help with Leonard Fournette. Obviously, Yeldon's not the typical Alabama big-type running back. He's more of a third-down back. Ivory's just not a guy you can really rely on, and I think Leonard Fournette is an Adrian Peterson type of running back for me. So I value him really highly. So I'm all in on him if I'm Jacksonville, and I would feed him the ball and then hit that play action, hit Allen Robinson deep down the sideline. So that's my take.
Yeah. Well, do you want to slide right into your 5th overall selection?
Me? I thought Mitch had something to say.
Oh.
He seemed like he was chopping at the bits.
No, man, I love Leonard Fournette, and I think he'd be a great fit in Jacksonville. I mean, I think right now what Jacksonville's doing is they're trying to build a great defense. And to be honest, I do like Jonathan Allen. I don't see how 24. I don't know. I mean, I've seen
I was
Allen
drunk when I did it, so.
Go figure, right? But no, what I'm saying is, like, I love Fournette. I think, everything that DJ said is exactly why I love him. I think he's the best running back prospect since Adrian Peterson. He is a full-grown man, and when you watch him run last year, people are like, oh, like, they're not impressed. The dude was dealing with some serious ankle injuries. Go back and watch his 2015 tape. It's sick. He just trucks people.
It is.
I mean, you want to talk about a guy who's a real difference maker, and I think he's going to take a lot of pressure off of Blake Bortles. And I mean, I'm not a big fan of Blake Bortles, but the Jacksonville Jaguars have a lot of talent around them, and I think with a guy like Fournette, I mean, the Jaguars, they've built a great defense, and then if they can get that offense, circulating to be more, I guess 50-50 splits with running and passing, I think they could be a legit team, and they're not in a good, division. So.
Right. Nice. Yeah, you almost talked me into it, I think.
Maybe. All right. So, with my fifth pick as the Tennessee Titans, I felt like I could go one of two ways here. I felt like I could either go outside help, like Mike Williams, as a wide receiver there, or I could go cornerback because they need some help on defense. I went cornerback. I went with the best available cornerback here with Marshawn Lattimore. I felt like that Tennessee was picked apart, and right now cornerbacks have a lot more value than wide receiver. So that's a little bit why I'm leaning in that direction. He's the best cornerback available. I think he's a better player than Mike Williams might turn out to be. And I guess I don't really know what I'm going to get out of Mike Williams, where I think Marshawn Lattimore is going to end up being a great cover guy. So that's my reason for taking him at Tennessee.
Nice. I like it. Can't complain. Anyone else have any thoughts on that one?
No, I think I definitely like that pick. I think he, his style of play really resembles, I think, Tennessee's, being tough, and I think he's, really comparable to Vontae Davis. My only concern with Lattimore is at times he gets beat deep, so.
Yeah.
But that can be, I think you can kind of learn that as you get older.
All right. Andrew, anything from you?
No, I like the pick. I agree with what he was saying was between Mike Williams and Marshawn Lattimore. I had Mike Williams slotted in there. I just think that I was just looking at the Titans and their offense, and it just seems like Mariota is just like that one weapon away from really breaking out. But the need is still there, obviously, for the secondary. So I could definitely see the Titans, going DB and then grabbing a receiver later.
I was going to say, and they do have 2 picks. I didn't mention that, but they also do have 2 picks in that first round, so that's something they could address later as well. So
I'm just looking ahead here, and I get to mess up their next pick, so you don't have to worry about it. But I am honored that Mitchell was kind enough to give me the 6th pick, so I get to select for his New York Jets.
Oh, yay.
Yeah, so
dumpster fire.
But you know what? I think you'll be happy with my selection because you just got done talking good about him. And at number 6, I've got the Jets taking Fournette. My biggest thing there is I think the Jets are really obviously questionable at quarterback, and I don't think that they're going to take someone in this year's draft, at least right away. So I think if they can get a running back that's going to, at some point, they're going to end up with a young quarterback. I think it's pretty clear that at some point they're going to get a young quarterback. So you're going to need a running back, like DJ said in the past. You need that running back who can alleviate the stress from that quarterback. So Fournette, like you said, the guy can tote the rock. He's built to take a pounding, so he's going to be able to. Mitchell's in the closet listening to that. No, but he's built to be that 20 carry a game kind of running back. So I think he's a great fit in New York.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't mind, obviously, if he went to the Jets at 6, but I don't know. I mean, for me, I had O.J. Howard slotted there for the New York Jets. I think Howard is probably the most complete real-life football tight end that the draft has seen in a while. He might not be the best fantasy tight end, but from a blocking standpoint and from a offensive standpoint, I mean, I think the guy can do it all. And, I mean, you want to talk about a security blanket for a young quarterback. It's definitely a tight end, and he can, like I said, he just makes the Jets, I think, a little bit more dimensional, and which is what they need. But would not be upset with Fournette, so I like the pick.
Who's what's the last Jets tight end to actually be like a difference maker on offense? Is it like Dustin Keller?
Yeah, Andrew and I were actually talking about this literally as soon as I put this shirt on today, and we were talking about it, and I think over the last 2 years, I think the Jets don't even have 30 receptions between all their tight ends in the last 2 years.
That's brutal.
Yeah, Mitch, how many of the tight ends can you name off the top of your head?
Oh, God. Jason Morrow.
Jeff Cumberland.
Austin Safarian Jenkins.
Keep going.
Zach Sudfeld. Former Patriot.
All right, we're done.
No, there's one more. It's they drafted someone out of, was it Notre Dame? I can't remember who it was now. Shoot, that's going to bother me.
Yeah, neither can the Jets.
Well,
so.
regardless, that was a good back and forth of Jets tight end. We need more of that. That was pretty impressive. DJ and I were just like, yeah, I'm not quite sure if we can compete with this Jets tight end.
It's not a bad thing.
Yeah, no.
Nice. Well, Mitch, let's go to your pick at 7 there with the LA Chargers.
Cool. So this was, I don't know, a little bit of a tough one for me, but when I look at it, I think the Chargers, I think they're going to try to build their defense because I think their offense is actually pretty well off right now. But so I have them going with safety Jamal Adams from LSU. I think it's kind of funny how we talked about it, a little bit earlier. When I look at Jamal Adams, the comparison I see a lot is Darren Woodson. And, I don't know, I think he can, kind of do it all, I guess, as a safety. And, he's like, I read some scouts say that he was the best leader ever at LSU in the history of LSU. And I think when a guy can, has that much promise, I think, to be able to lead a defense, which, the Chargers do have a young defense, I think that definitely helps them a lot. So, I just went with Jamal Adams. I think he was a, pretty safe pick at safety, good young player. And, I think he can definitely be the leader on that defense that the Chargers need in Los Angeles, which sounds weird. So.
Yeah, sounds crazy weird. I got called out on Twitter because when I posted my first version of my mock draft, I still had them at San Diego. So it's just embedded in all of us, I think. But I have the Chargers taking Adams as well. I don't know if that can really be debated. Do you guys have anything different?
I actually already had Jamal Adams going ahead of that, so I just had Lee Hooker there. So, I mean, if he was there, I would have taken him, obviously. So.
Yep.
Yeah, I had probably my favorite name in the draft, Taco Charlton from Michigan. Just working on the defense for the Chargers. I mean, their defense was nothing special last year. So, taking a defensive end, a pass rusher to help that defense, because they just have tons of problems on the back end. So they need to get to the quarterback.
Definitely.
But I definitely like the Jamal Adams pick.
Yeah, I think that's pretty common consensus that Adams or Hooker, if they can get one of those two, it would be a pretty successful pick for them. I'm interested to see where you go with this next pick, Andrew. It's number 8. It's the Carolina Panthers, and I don't know, a lot of people are mocking a certain running back of a lighter ethnicity that I just don't know if I agree with. But I'm interested to see where you go with this.
You guessed it. Yeah, it is Christian McCaffrey from Stanford. I think that he's going to be a lock in for the Carolina Panthers. I think he's a super dynamic weapon. He's shown that he can carry the load at Stanford. I was looking at some of the things that Dave Gettleman, the GM for the Panthers, was talking about. This is his quote. He says, "You have to run the ball to win in this league. You're not going to win if you can't run the rock." And his philosophy, according to what he says, is to get the best player. And I think that Christian McCaffrey is a very special player, and I think that him and Cam Newton in the backfield together, stuff's going to happen, and it's going to be
things will happen. Hot takes.
Sparks are going to be flying. So lay it on me.
Nice. I'm going to jump in right away just because I kind of preempted it because I just had a feeling a lot of people are going with McCaffrey, and I'm actually going to be pissed off if he goes there because I'm just kind of ignoring all these draft experts, and I almost feel like I'm just going to get this one wrong now. I've got him taking Gary and Conley, and not necessarily that it has to be him, but I think that they need to address secondary and cornerbacks because they just got toasted. Like everyone was thinking that the loss of Josh Norman wasn't going to be that big of a deal, but their secondary just got torched once Norman left. So I think they need to try to bring in a cornerback, and I think Conley could be that guy, and I think he can make a more impact position being drafted at number 8 than a running back like Christian McCaffrey, who I think running back is so deep that you can get another playmaker later, and I just feel like getting that stud cornerback is more important than getting that stud running back. I don't disagree with your analysis. I disagree with the order of the selection, I guess.
I don't have too much to say on this, really. I don't really like Christian McCaffrey.
Because he's white?
Because he's white, yeah, straight up. I'm racist as shit. No, I don't like him at all. I don't think I'd rather have. I guess I have other running backs slated ahead of him. I've got Dalvin Cook slated ahead of him. I like Joe Mixon better, but you never know where he's going to go because of his problems. So I have McCaffrey actually at the end of the first round, but if the Chiefs weren't even involved in this draft, I wouldn't have them get drafted in the first round. So I had them going defense because their defense was just picked apart to me last year. They scored a good amount of points offensively. They needed a lot of help defensively.
Yeah.
I agree with that. I had him slated for Marshawn Lattimore in my mock that I've done for Good Iron Expert. So, like I said, I had him taking a defensive player, but McCaffrey's interesting.
He is, and then I agree with that. I actually kind of like McCaffrey as a prospect. I just can't justify it in the top 10 when they have so many other needs. But hey, that's why we do mock drafts. You know, it's fun to talk about. It's fun to see which direction they go. So I'm glad that you went McCaffrey there. I'm just so that I was able to get that off my chest. But DJ, you're up next. You're on the clock.
I think this might be one of my least favorite picks here at the Cincinnati Bengals at number 9. I guess I thought they had trouble going, getting to the quarterback this year. So I went Taco Charlton. I had him ranked a little bit higher than I know people are high on Derek Barnett, but I went Charlton. Seemed like the safer route. I don't have a lot of reasons behind it. Like I said, I hate this pick. This is the one pick that I didn't want to do, but I got stuck with it. So I'm going Taco Charlton because he's my next highest rated defensive end on my chart. So I don't know if you could add anything. If anybody can help me out here.
I mean, I had him taking Reuben Foster, but now I don't know with the whole issue he's going on. I don't know a lot of times what the NFL does with their what's good, what's bad. So I mean,
who knows?
Seems like I mean, if there's not a video of it out, it doesn't really matter.
Right.
So we'll see what happens. Though I mean, Taco's a little bit later on me for like my rankings, but I'll just say I'm definitely not upset that you didn't take Barnett. So
yeah. And I was with you, Mitchell. I had Reuben Foster mocked there with all this stuff that's coming out. I see him now. Some people are saying second, maybe even third round that he falls to, and I just can't get behind that. I think he's way too much of a talent. DJ, you'll love this. As a Dolphins fan, if he's there at 22, it could be a similar situation to like how Laramie Tunsil dropped to them, and it's a position of need. It's a stud player, and I just don't really even see him getting out of the first round. But yeah, I think Taco would be fine in Cincinnati as well.
Why am I surrounded by AFC East fans?
You are, aren't you?
This is weird.
First time you're ever in the minority. I shouldn't say ever, but
no, you got the good, the bad, and the ugly. So
that's true.
Hey, which one of us is ugly, Mitchell?
I think you're the ugly one.
If we're talking about teams, I easily am the ugly one.
Nice.
It's debatable.
We'll extend that debate to another day. Nice.
Dolphins made the playoffs.
Yeah, but they're still ugly.
Playoffs.
I'm gonna ignore that comment. We can hit them when we get to the next mock draft, when we get to 22. But I'm on the clock at number 10 with the Bills, and I'm going. My guy that I have him mocked there is still there, and it's Mike Williams, the receiver out of Clemson. And my theory behind this, I've been public on our podcast saying I don't think he's a can't miss receiver. I think he needs to be in a certain situation where they're going to take advantage of the things that he can do well. And I think Buffalo is that kind of team with a quarterback like Tyrod Taylor who can extend the play and let Williams not do just like his generic route, but give him more jump ball downfield situations. And I think at the end of the day, if you can pair a healthy Sammy Watkins with Mike Williams, the Bills can become like a legit offense. And I don't think it'll take them that long with Tyrod, McCoy, Williams, and Watkins. I think that could be a dangerous offense moving forward. So I think the talent is too much for them to pass. So I'm going to stay with Mike Williams at number 10.
So, yeah, this is interesting because I do have Mike Williams as my number one wide receiver, but I still have him available on the board, and I went wide receiver at this position. I just went John Ross for them. The reason being is because they have Sammy Watkins, and Tyrod Taylor's a great deep ball thrower. So I think he would love to throw to a guy like John Ross when he gets out of the pocket and can let it go because he's a really accurate deep ball thrower. And he would be replacing, what's his name? Was it Goodwin? Was it the guy they just lost?
Marquise Goodwin, yeah.
Yeah, Marquise Goodwin. So I think they just bring him in there to fill him, and I think lots of people are really high on him. So I actually slated them taking John Ross there instead of Mike Williams.
Yeah, I think in my mock I also have him taking Mike Williams, but John Ross to me is more of a burner. It's just I don't know. The more and more I think about this pick, the more I don't know what the Bills are going to do. I mean, I've heard they're actually really in love with Pat Mahomes, the quarterback from Texas Tech.
Yeah.
I've heard like they've even been like
Gosh.
interested in like trading up for him. But I don't know. My other thing is like, are they going to get burned again by another Clemson receiver? I mean,
Yeah.
Sammy Watkins, as you said, unbelievably talented, but can't stay on the field. So,
Right.
I don't know what they're willing to do in that regard. So,
Yeah, I've been hearing that quarterback rumor as well with the Bills, and I think as AFC East fans, minus DJ, and none of us are Bills fans, I think we'd all be in favor of them taking Mahomes. I'd be all on board with that happening.
I like Mahomes, though, to be honest. He's a gunslinger.
Yep.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, he reminds me a lot of Johnny Manziel.
draft day, baby.
Minus the drinking.
Nah, more athletic Brett Favre.
And the height.
Nice. I think we could spend a long time debating quarterbacks in this draft, so let's move on to Mitchell's next pick. You got the Saints here at 11.
Well, to be honest, I mean, I've been hearing a bunch of different things. I think from a fantasy perspective, I think my favorite move was the Christian McCaffrey to the Saints. But if we're going to go real life football, I'm going to take Derek Barnett, Tennessee. And I think this guy is definitely what you look for when you want to look at, what have you done or what did you do in college. He's basically the most productive player out of Tennessee since Reggie White, which I think, speaks volumes. He's the first ever freshman ever to start at Tennessee. And, I mean, if anybody has any time, I mean, seriously go through and look at his stats of what he did at Tennessee. I mean, they are jaw-dropping. I mean, they are very impressive. So I'm not really going to harp on them all here. But, tough guy, big hands. I don't know, the one guy who I listen to on a few podcasts, he's like a boxer. He, like, when he gets up in there, like, he just throws his hands. I mean, he's got big paws. I mean, he just hits people around, gets to the quarterback. And, I think the Saints, I think we can all agree, I mean, their offense is definitely better than their defense. So I think if they can improve their pass rush, it'll definitely help the Saints, win real football games. So. Yeah,
I was doing a look at some of the stats from last year when I was doing my first round mock, and they were dead last year in passing yards allowed per game. So I thought instantly, I'm like, they have to go defense here. I love defensive end. I think Barnett would be a great pick. Otherwise, cornerback. I think those are the options they pretty much have to go with because, like you said, their offense is what it is. They're going to be able to score points. It's on the other side of the ball that's killing Breeze and killing their opportunity to win games. And the division is unbelievable. Every single one of those teams is a legit playoff contender. So you're gonna need to start playing a little bit of defense if you're gonna try to compete in that division.
Yep, I got nothing.
Yeah, no, I definitely like the pick. The Saints definitely need to go defense, and that's probably what they're going to do with the 32nd pick too. Probably going to go defense again, just because Drew Brees, realistically, like you can really probably throw anybody out there with him, and he's going to have a productive offense.
Right.
Like he's just such a dynamic quarterback, and all they do is chuck the ball. It's like he's going to make plays. Like the Saints don't need. That's why they got rid of Cooks because they don't need him. They need defense, though. And that's why they were trying to pry away Malcolm Butler from the Patriots because they're like they just need corner. They need everything on defense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I did have them slated as taking a cornerback there. So defensive, outside linebacker, cornerback, either one. I had them taking both in the first round. So just pick your poison on which one they take first.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. Well, let's cruise on to the Cleveland Browns' second pick. And Andrew, you are the owner of this one. What are you going to do?
All right. So I know a lot of people have this slotted as a quarterback, but I'm going to go a different route. I think that the Browns have been down this road before, taking quarterbacks higher, and I think that there's a lot of quarterbacks in this draft that I think will fall to the second round. So I think that they're going to go. Or if I was the Browns, I would draft O.J. Howard. I think he's like Mitch had talked about him a little bit earlier before, and how he's probably like as a football tight end, he's going to be a very good tight end. And what's a rookie quarterback's best friend? It's a tight end. That's what he needs. I mean, if you go back, Cleveland for the most part hasn't had really a tight end. They had Jordan Cameron for one season. maybe that's what they're missing. Maybe they just need to, they got to get a blanket for their quarterback, their rookie quarterback. So I think Howard is a good pick there. He's like the highest graded on my board that's left available. So that's who I'm going to go with.
Nice.
Love it.
Can't argue it. I hate the pick. I hate the pick for the Browns because you're in a tough position there because I don't even see them honestly keeping the 12th pick. But so it's hard. I don't want to predict a trade, obviously. So you just have to go ahead and throw somebody in there, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I also don't mind it. I think what the Browns are trying to do, I mean, they really invested in that offensive line. So, I mean, I think O.J. Howard would definitely, be a great tight end where, not only can he catch the ball, but he's also, an elite blocker. Like, he is one of the best blocking tight ends that I've seen in a long time. So, I like the pick. I mean, if he was still available at 12, I would take him.
Yeah, that's actually where I had him slotted as well. I think that he's a guy that can impact the game from day one, and by the time the Browns do find their franchise guy, kind of like what I'm saying for the Jets, I think Howard will be really solidified and know the nuances of the position, and I think that he can thrive once he gets there. So the future could be bright for the Browns. I don't know if it's going to be immediate, but they're stockpiling draft picks. If they can end up with a quarterback at some level sometime, if they can get a pass rusher like Garrett, they can add a tight end like Howard. I don't know. We might be talking about the Browns in 7 to 8 years.
Yeah, we might be as old as you guys by then.
That was my favorite slight in Loaded Box podcast history.
Are we old?
Yeah, we're old.
Older than us.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah, he's the baby, though.
I hate this.
All right, old guy, let's move on to number 13.
I love this pick. I was really excited about having this one. I'm real high on the Cardinals taking Patrick Mahomes, and I know people's argument could be that he played in the worst, maybe, defensive conference in all of college football, but it's Bruce Arians, and Bruce Arians loves to air the ball out. So I could see them grabbing another guy who's throwing the ball a ton, and Patrick Mahomes is that guy. As Mitch said, he's a gunslinger. I didn't originally think I'd do this here, but I have him as my second quarterback, and as I said on Twitter the other day, I think these are the only two quarterbacks that go. I guess he's the first one we've had taken, isn't he?
Yeah, you could have taken Trubisky. Do you want to change it?
No, I don't, because I think the Cardinals are going to. I think they're going to take Patrick Mahomes. I think they'll probably like him better. But I'm gonna stick with Mahomes here at this position. So that's where I'm going. I like it. I think he's a good fit in that offense with Bruce Arians.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it. The fact that the Cardinals can go a couple different directions here. They can play for now, which could be the last year of the Arians, Palmer, Fitzgerald. Just get a guy that can compact now, or you can build for the future. And I like what you're doing there with Mahomes. I did the same thing. I went with Trubisky instead. He was my first quarterback off the board, but I like the pick, and I can't disagree with it too much there.
Yeah, sitting behind Carson Palmer for a year or two would be perfect for a guy like him too. So
yeah.
Digging it. Now, I saw a video on ESPN of Mahomes and I believe it was David Carr. They were throwing a football and seemed to throw the hardest. At the NFL Combine, the hardest ever throw is 60 miles an hour, and Mahomes hit 62. Throwing on television, just like airing it out a little bit. So, dude has a big time arm. Family is, a bunch of athletes. His dad played professional sports, so he knows what it takes, I think, to be a professional athlete, and he definitely has the tools, and if he can sit behind somebody and learn a little bit, the dude could be scary good. He's my favorite quarterback in the draft. So,
yeah, I definitely agree. I like the pick too. I think it's a perfect situation for the Cardinals, for Mahomes. I think that it gets overlooked sometimes when you have these rookie quarterbacks coming out of the draft, that who they get paired with as like their head coach. I think Bruce Arians is a great guy to work with quarterbacks. I think that Mahomes will benefit a lot just from working with Bruce Arians. So whether or not he's the best quarterback right now, I think if it's this situation that he's in, I think in 2 or 3 years he will be at the point of like the most success out of any of these quarterbacks.
Man, I'm gonna have to start changing my picks from what I bought because this is crazy. Lots of guys left on there that I like.
Well,
for these
Yeah.
weeks.
and that's what I was going to talk about too here with my next pick. When I saw the picks that I saw that I had 14 and I had the Eagles. And I hated picking for the Eagles the way it was when I was doing my own mock. I just feel like they can go so many different ways, and I don't have a great read on them. I had Derek Barnett, but who stole him from me? Mitch, thanks a lot for that. I decided to improvise, and I think that the Eagles are in that position where they can go best player available. They did a pretty good job in the offseason addressing the offense and giving Wentz some more options. Added Jeffrey. Trying to think of the other receiver they added.
Torrey Smith.
Yep, Torrey Smith. They re-signed Sproles. So I think they should go defensive player of the ball, and the fact that Gary and Conley is still on the board at cornerback, it might not be their most pressing need, but I like their best player available strategy here, and I'm going to go with Conley, the cornerback out of Ohio State. Speechless.
I like it.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, I have Barnett slated there too, so I didn't get time to. I didn't think about it like you did, so that's who I had slated there, but he's gone like you said. So
Yeah.
I like the adjustment.
Yeah, I just think they did enough in the offseason where it was offensively focused to give Wenson those options. So I think at some point they're going to realize that, hey, we're going to need to approach the defensive side of the ball. And a guy like Conley, who a lot of people have in the top 10, top 15, and right now we're right at that 14-15 mark. I think this is maybe not the most realistic spot for him, but if the draft were to play out this way, I'm taking Conley at 14. Mitchell, you want to pump on to 15?
Yeah, so this is probably my favorite pick so far, the Indianapolis Colts. And, I mean, obviously I feel like I should pick a receiver here, and just keep going along with the trends that they do. But I think if the Colts really need to look at, who they are, and they're Andrew Luck, and how are they going to win, keeping Andrew Luck upright. My favorite offensive lineman in this draft, yes, I understand people say it's not, a very good one and whatnot, but at the end of the day, linemen are very important because what do they protect? The most important player on the field. So my favorite lineman is Forrest Lamp out of Western Kentucky. When I really look at him, he is built kind of like a block. Yes, he kind of has short arms, but he's a very, very strong guy, 34 reps, bench press. But when I really watch him play and, when I watch this tape, I saw a lot of Zach Martin, and then I think it's really funny that, a lot of the comparisons that he's drawing on NFL, .com is Zach Martin. And, I mean, we know how that pick worked out. I mean, a lot of times linemen, if they can learn a system a little bit, I mean, you have to be a very intelligent guy, which he is, and, he might not have as much ceiling to build any more strength just because I think he is kind of maxed out in his body, but at the end of the day, I don't know, I think he's a really safe pick, and I think he can definitely, keep Andrew Luck upright, which is ultimately what the Colts need to do. So
Yeah, your analysis was basically what I wrote in the article I did earlier this week, where I did a little blurb for each draft pick, and I have them taking offensive line as well. I had a different guy going, but I think what you have to realize there is what you said. It's Andrew Luck's team. He is the face of the franchise. He's the one that's going to get you to the next level. So while, there's needs on defense for that team, you need to keep him upright. You need to keep him healthy because they're not going anywhere without him. So whatever offensive lineman you would have taken there, I think it's a solid pick. And I think that they're going to have their choice there too because, I mean, he's our first offensive lineman we have going off the board. There's not a lot of hype around any of the linemen going before that. So I really don't think the Colts can screw this up. I think they're going to be able to get their guy because of the fact that there's no one before them that will take a lineman.
I don't have them taking a lineman. Their first round pick last year was Ryan Kelly, the center, correct?
Yep.
So I'm on the Andrew Luck train, helping Andrew Luck out, but not on the offensive line. I like Dalvin Cook, honestly, here. Just watching his tape, I'm a big fan of Dalvin Cook. I am.
Mitch is a big fan of Dalvin Cook, too.
Yeah, let him talk about it.
They need a running back, honestly. Frank Gore is 4,000 years old. They don't have any other running backs. And Dalvin Cook can be an all three down running back. So I have them taking Dalvin Cook here, helping out. Has Andrew Luck ever had a running back?
Frank Gore.
Vic Ballard.
He's been
Frank Gore.
94 years old since he's been there.
running back 12 every year. Lock it in.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, because he gets 1 yard touchdowns after fucking Luck throws it all the way down the field.
Do we really want to get into Dalvin Cook talk? I mean, how much time do we got?
Yeah, let's hear it.
So, I mean, I've already written an article on Gridiron Experts about why I don't think Dalvin Cook will even go in the first round. So I guess I'll ask you, DJ, what do you think are the two biggest ways rookie running backs get benched?
Get benched?
Yeah, or maybe have concerns.
Fumbles?
Fumbles and poor pass protection, I think, are probably the two biggest. And if you look at Dalvin Cook, I mean, he fumbles once every 63 touches. So, like, I don't know, it's pretty bad. Plus his, pass blocking, I think, is more than below average. And then I don't really see why a team would invest in a guy who finished in the 9th percentile according to Spark Score. No running back has ever been taken in the first round who's finished under the 25th percentile. And then you want to talk about off-the-field issues. I know a lot of people are more around the NFL have more concerns about his off-the-field issues, even more than, Joe Mixon, I've read. So, and then we're talking about a deep running back class. Why are we investing in a guy who's got all these knocks against him? And not to mention that Dalvin Cook has had 3 major shoulder injuries. So is he really a 3-down guy? I mean, I don't know if he'll be able to hold up. So
DJ, you just got served.
I just like his running style. He can keep his legs underneath him. He slides off the tackles really well. I'm just a big fan of how he runs. So
he's a guy who looks good against college guys. Yeah. But when you see a guy who really does not, 9th percentile in Spark Score is not good. Plus, here's a guy who I don't really think is very good at running between the tackles. He can bounce to the outside. He can get away with it in a Florida State offense that, tries to spread you out a little bit. But he's going to realize real quick that the NFL is a little different than college, and bouncing to the outside doesn't work. So, I don't know, man. I'm excited to see how Dalvin Cook does.
We'll see.
Nice. That was some heat. I don't know.
Locked in this effing closet.
Andrew, I don't know how you're going to be able to back that one up, but let's round out the first half here with your pick for the Ravens at 16.
All right, yeah. So we all know the Ravens lost Steve Smith, 89. So he's done. So Joe Flacco can no longer rely on throwing it to the ageless wonder. So I think that it's between John Ross and Corey Davis for me, and I just feel like with the Ravens, Mike Wallace is already there. Rashad Perryman's already there. I mean, we're not really sure what he is yet, but it seems like he's more of a deep threat vertical receiver, and I just think that, if they have John Ross, they just have too many vertical receivers. So I like Corey Davis to go to the Ravens. I think he's a better all-around wide receiver. I think that eventually he can become the number one receiver for Joe Flacco because they need help at receiver. They need to have more weapons for Flacco.
Definitely. Davis has quickly become my wide receiver 1, even though I took Williams just for the fit in Buffalo. I love Corey Davis. I don't think it's a matter of if. I think it's a matter of when he becomes a team's number 1 receiver. And if he's going to the Ravens, I have him slotted to the Titans, and I think he could end up being their number 1. But the Ravens is a logical spot for him as well, and I think it's just a matter of time before Flacco finds a comfort level with him. And he can work inside, he can work outside, he can do it all. He checks all the boxes as a receiver for me. I love the pick.
I had the same guy going there, for all the same reasons, so I can't argue with it at all.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I actually have the exact same thing. I have him going there also. But I'll be totally honest. I do not like Joe Flacco whatsoever. I think I've made that clear on every podcast I've ever been on.
But he's elite, though. Joe Flacco's elite.
Yeah.
Yep.
Back in 2010.
Luckily, you're not going to be on the second show anymore. So, no, but I don't know. I just think I love Corey Davis. He's my favorite receiver, in this draft. But I'll be honest. If he goes to the Ravens, I don't know. I just dislike Joe Flacco that much where, I don't know, it'll be hard to root for him.
I hate Joe Flacco so much that I put running around the house naked on the fact that they don't make the playoffs because of him. I do not like him at all.
Yeah, DJ risked it. There was no reward in that. He just said, hey, if they make the playoffs, I will run around my house in the winter naked. So, yeah, DJ.
And I'll watch. That's not bad.
From the closet. Nice. Well, that wraps up our podcast for today. Thanks for listening. As I mentioned, we'll do picks 17 through 32 here. That'll be released here in the next couple of days. Forgot to mention it earlier. If you're interested in doing our first-round mock draft competition, send us a message. Let us know. We're doing a $10 entry fee, 100% payback. Let us know. We'll get you the link for that. We'll get you all signed up. But thanks again for listening. You can find Mitchell Renz and Andrew Erickson on Twitter. If you forgot what their usernames were, just hit rewind and go to the beginning and find it out. And thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you in a couple days.
Bye.